Today we're going to be going over some fantastic fragrance grails that I think every guy should try at some point. You've probably heard of a lot of these at one point or another, and there's a good reason for that. These really stand out in a great way, and they provide something different and special that you're not used to smelling every day. A lot of these have also been out for a while, and they don't make them like they used to. At least that's what it feels like right now. Times are continuously changing, and new trends are always working their way in and out of the community. And right now, we're just not getting the same type of releases that these were and are at one point. And I'm not saying that all new releases are bad by any means. There's been some really good ones, but I don't know. There's something just interesting and really fascinating about quite a few of these here. And who knows, maybe I'll kind of feel that way about some of the newer stuff that's being put out now at some point in the future, after times continue to change and then the trends kind of go in a different direction again. But looking back on these releases here, these are really, really interesting and definitely worth trying at some point. Some might be a little bit harder to try than others, but I do recommend, if you are pretty deep into this hobby, put these on your watch list. If you have a chance to get a sample or a bottle, go for it. That's not to say that all of these are hard to find. That's not true. There's a few of these here that are. Most of these are still readily available, so it's not the end of the world, but I just wanted to start that off on that note. Now, this first one is one you can get in stock right now. It's not cheap, but it is really good. It's Dior Homme Parfum. This is my old bottle. They come in 100 mils now, and which I also have, but this is the old style 75s. And I've gone on and on about this stuff. It's one of my favorite designer scents ever. It's the perfect example of something that is so unique and so rich and has so much depth behind it where, I really can't do a better job of explaining it to you than that. Pretty base level, I suppose, but this is, one of those things where you really do need to try it to understand what the hype is all about. I think that's how it goes for a lot of things, but especially with this, it's a more intense and strong version of Dior Homme Intense. It's another way to describe it, but that still doesn't really do it justice. So it does have iris in here, no surprise, but then some oud, rose, and leather as well. Now, I don't want that to scare you off. The oud, the rose, it's not too overpowering. But it does give it a different type of sweetness and woodiness that you might not be used to. And then the leather is giving it a nice, strong, masculine backbone. And all of this works together to provide some level of balance. It's not too sweet. It's not too leathery. It's not too, focused on rose, not too floral. Everything is working together to just create a nice, even, easy to wear, and still masculine designer scent. And like I had mentioned earlier, it's not cheap. It's one that you're going to have to fork quite a bit of money over for, but it's worth it. If you have a passion for iris scents and you want the best of the best, this is it right here. Definitely worth at least trying at some point in your collection hobby. Now, this next one here is discontinued. However, sometimes you might get lucky and have a bottle pop up in stock. And that's kind of just the name of the game. If you're in the right place at the right time, like my mailing list, texting list, anytime something rare, discontinued, hard to find comes into stock, I notify about it. Then you might get lucky and be able to snag a bottle for yourself. I've picked up a few backup bottles here and there, few and far between, but they do come in stock. You can also be on the lookout for samples, make friends with people in the community, see if they would sell you a sample or give you a small sample to try or whatever. There's a lot of ways to get your nose on something like L'Homme Ultime by YSL. Any OGs would probably remember when this one was starting to get some traction. It was taking off and getting a lot of respect, and kind of the L'Homme line and all the flankers were starting to get on people's nerves, but this is one that kind of stood out above the rest and really made a good name for itself. This smells great. Got to give credit where credit's due. This is probably one of the best L'Homme flankers. Just because we like it doesn't mean that everybody else liked it, and that's kind of the downfall of this one. I would imagine that it wasn't selling very well, and to make room for new flankers that they're putting out often, they discontinued it. This one's got ginger, rose, and cedarwood here. It's great for springtime. It has a bright kind of fizzy opening from the ginger. The rose is a fresh rose. getting some masculine cedar wood, which is giving a little bit of a peppery smell going on there further in the dry down. It's very crisp and refreshing with a nice woody backbone. This stuff, again, is really, really good, and it's worth at least trying. This one is in such high demand where if you were to find a bottle of it in stock for a price that isn't completely outrageous, you could probably buy it, and if you didn't like it, you could sell it and get your money back out of it. It's one of those things that people are always looking for, and so if you have the chance to get one, I recommend it. Kind of same with this one right here. It's another one that pops up from time to time on discounters. Fragrance Net and Fragrance Buy oftentimes will get some of these in stock, and generally they sell through pretty quickly, but it's Issey Miyake Noir Ombre. You probably remember hearing about this one too. Has a lot of amber, and that's what it's all about. No surprise. And unfortunate for this, it was starting to get a lot of its hype right around the peak of when it got discontinued as well. Unfortunately, that's just how it is sometimes. You don't discover things because they're kind of hidden gems. You don't hear too many people talking about them. Maybe they're just kind of often out of stock. And then by the time you finally figure it out and you really start liking it and you get excited about it, then it gets hard to find again. So that's kind of what happened with this. I don't know if this one was a limited edition or if it was just something that got discontinued, but regardless of that, if you're into amber scents and you want a fantastic designer level amber that's still going to be easy to wear and mass pleasing, this is one you should consider looking into. Jumping over to a niche scent here, usually around $180. I would say anything, I don't know, $200 or less is what you should be paying for this one. But again, I've seen it down to $180. I've even seen it down into the 160s for testers with cap. So depending on where you're at and how soon you want to buy, you can get it for a good price. Xerjoff Naxos, very much a hyped up scent. There's also quite a few clones out there as well. So if you don't want to pay the money for this, you've got other options. But this one here is, again, the real deal. It's going to be a bit more expensive. There is a Vaux Elegante, and I believe that's a Paris Corner. Has a similar frosted glass bottle, and that's a great clone. That one comes in at, I don't know, $30 to $40. This is all about the tobacco and honey. Some tonka bean in here as well. Tobacco, honey, those go together great. Bread and butter. And this is one of the first scents that comes to my mind when I think of that note combination. This isn't the only scent to do it. It wasn't the first one to do it. There are many more out there using this combination. However, there's something special about Naxos where you don't get this type of thing every day. The clones are really good, but even still, there's something special about the real deal that is worth at least trying. Even if you don't want to pay for a full bottle, grab a sample of it and try it. It really is something cool and unique. Jumping back over to the designer end, $110-ish for this one, maybe $120 sometimes. Prada Luna Rosa Black, Tonka and Amber. That's all you need to know. That's basically it. Dusty, powdery, not something that you might expect out of a men's scent. You know, it's, again, to use the word powdery, that is the best way to describe it. If I were to think of one of the most powdery scents out there marketed for men, it would probably be Luna Rosa Black. So, you know, use that information for what you will, you know, because it's not going to be something that everybody's going to like. I do think it's worth trying at some point, everybody. I think they should, because you might be surprised if it doesn't sound like something that you're going to be interested in right now. Maybe it's something that you would be interested later on, or maybe it's something that would surprise you. You try it not expecting to like it, and you end up loving it. I've had that happen quite a bit. In fact, Dior Homme Intense, perfect example. I didn't think I was going to like it. I bought a sample, ended up instantly falling in love with it. So I do recommend giving it a try. Sample it first, blind buy it if you're comfortable. At some point, just get your nose on it. You've seen this one around. It's got a little bit of hype for good reason. This next one here is a must-have. It's a no-brainer. It's right around $100 even, sometimes $95, and we're talking 100 milliliter full presentation. Guerlain L'Homme Ideal Extreme, plum, tobacco, and almond. This is an absolute unique beauty work of art. There's just something that is so inviting and rich about this that, again, going back to what I was talking about earlier, it's hard to convey all this stuff and put it into words. You really need to try it and see what it's all about. It's quite a bit different than the Eau de Parfum and the original, which you might have smelled before or heard about more. And the Extreme has gotten quite a bit of hype too, but they did a good job of still maintaining that DNA from the almond, but the plum tobacco combo is something I've never really seen done before, and it gives it a super unique fruitiness along with some of that smokiness and sweetness going on as well. I just haven't really smelled anything else like this before. And going back to what I've been saying, if you want something new, different, and exciting to try out, this is something that I do recommend looking into. Technically niche because they only do fragrances, and this is on the low end of their pricing here compared to a lot of their other more exclusive stuff. So again, $100 or a bit less for this one generally. It's a great price. It offers a lot, has a great performance to go along with it too. Next up, we have a scent from Robert Graham. Small little designer brand here that you've maybe heard of. They only have 3 fragrances, at least to the best of my knowledge, at least what you can buy right now. And this one happens to be Valor. So these on discounters are around, I don't know, I think $65, maybe closer to $70, somewhere around in there. And this one's got coffee, amber, and some sage going on, but it's a coffee scent. It's kind of how I would describe it. It's a really good one at that. Nice dusty roasted coffee beans. They did a good job. I love coffee scents. I love coffee in general, and this is a great representation. Has a nice aromatic kind of undertone as well coming from that sage there. The amber is just kind of providing a little bit of a sweet dry down, and then the coffee you get up top and get all the way through the entirety of the scent too. Great for this time of year when it's cold outside. It's going to work well. Something unique. It doesn't smell like all of the other coffee scents out there, and for the price point, you can't go wrong. Next up, we have Dolce & Gabbana The One Luminous Night. Has a ton of sandalwood, amber, some dates in here, tonka, if I didn't say that, a lot of other sweet notes. So this is their exclusive line, so this is an exclusive edition. Has a little bit more of a Middle Eastern smell to it slightly, but not a ton, not as much as Mysterious Night, using a ton of oud and rose there. This one's a little bit more tame, but it's still a lot more unique than, the original EDT and EDP and the One Gray and so on. And it's also a bit more unique than the One Royal Night, also an exclusive edition. So this one kind of fits in the middle. One of my favorites. It smells great. This, unfortunately, has been hard to get ever since it first came out. I don't know why. I mean, it's an exclusive edition, but the others have been easier to get consistently. This one never has been. There are clones, so before you get too mad because you can't buy this one either, there are clones. At the end of the day, getting your nose on this DNA is kind of what it's all about. Same with some of these others as well that might be a bit hard to find. If you can just get your kind of an understanding of that DNA, you'll kind of see why people talk about them so much. Fragrance World Moonlit Night is a great clone of this one. They clone the bottle as well, and it's about $40 or so. And again, just like everything else, this one does pop up from time to time. You just have to know where to look. And again, if you want to get on my mailing list, texting list, anytime something rare, discontinued, hard to find pops up, I do send out a notification on it. So that would be your best bet. I'll do all the work searching for you, and then you'll just get it straight to your inbox. This is one you probably haven't seen a ton of. Dunhill Icon Elite. So you've seen the original Icon a ton of times for sure, silver bottle. This one is an eau de parfum and has a lot of woods. Some cardamom, vetiver, suede, cedar wood, ebony wood, some black pepper in here. Very woody, strong, peppery, spicy, and quite the opposite of the original Icon. I would say the original is a great spring scent for during the daytime. This would be more of a, evening out scent for the fall, winter, or early spring, I guess, as well. If the original Dunhill Icon was just a bit too fresh and kind of boring for you, this is a step further away from that into something that is a bit more rich and heavy. And we're going to finish this one off with another niche scent here. This will be the last one of this video, and I really like this stuff a ton and talked about it here and there. Amouage Reflection Man 45 Extrait. So my opinion is this: if you're only going to own one Reflection Man, get this one. And it's more expensive Okay, it's a bit harder to get, is what it is. It's the better scent between the two. Now, the original is an EDP, and it's in stock everywhere on discounters for, what is it, mid 100s or something? It's not really unreasonable, honestly, for what it's worth and what it provides. This one, you know, it'll come in stock sometimes for $280-ish, somewhere around in the mid to upper 200s on discounters. It retails for $500. So when you throw up over that discounter price, the retail is even worse. Don't pay the retail. It's that would be rough. I ended up buying mine on discounters when it came into stock a while back. I've had it for a while now. And again, not to beat a dead horse, but it pops up every now and then. You just have to be on the lookout for it. And I recommend it. You know, it's going to be more expensive than the EDP. It's harder to get. It's one of those things, though, where it might be worth waiting. Let's say you really want to get into it. You can buy a clone. You can buy a 10 or 15, 20 ml decant of the original and wear that and enjoy it. And then whenever a bottle of this pops up, you can grab it for you. It's better performing by a significant margin. The EDP isn't all that great, you know, and it's going to be an issue for a lot of people. This one has great performance. It's very strong. Also, it just is heavier, has a lot more going on, but it still maintains that soapy, expensive, classy smelling DNA that is Reflection Man. So definitely worth checking out. This is one of my all-time favorite smells. There's something so unique about this stuff that just, I don't know, it smells so premium. Alrighty guys, I think that's going to do it for me. Some fantastic fragrance holy grails that I think every guy should try at some point in their collecting hobby. I'll link all these up down below. Again, for the ones that are hard to find, jump on my mailing list, texting list. We'll get you taken care of at some point whenever they pop up, which they probably will at some point. You never know when they're going to show up, but they do pop up from time to time, so just be patient. Thanks so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.